The night was silent, the kind of silence that could make your heartbeat sound too loud. Jeanette drove down the empty road, her eyes heavy but her mind sharp. The storm outside had cleared, but the air still smelled of rain. It was close to midnight when she finally pulled into her driveway. The house looked peaceful from the outside, lights off, curtains still, just another quiet home in a small town. But something about that night felt wrong. As she stepped out of the car, she noticed the front door was slightly open. She froze. Jeanette remembered locking it before she left. Her pulse quickened, her throat dry. She slowly pushed the door open. Inside, the air felt thick, almost heavy, and she could hear the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen, and something else, a quiet creak from upstairs. "Tom?" she called softly. No answer. She walked further inside, her shoes leaving faint wet marks on the floor. The family photos on the hallway wall caught the faint light, her smiling face beside her husband and her little girl. Everything seemed in place, yet something was off. Then she saw it, a trail of mud on the wooden floor leading toward the living room. Her breathing grew shallow. She reached for her phone, but before she could dial, a whisper came from behind her. "Jeanette." She spun around, her heart pounding. No one was there. The whisper felt too close, too real. Fear gripped her chest, but she forced herself forward. In the living room, the curtains moved slightly as if brushed by wind, but the windows were shut. The television flickered, static. For a moment, the faint glow revealed something on the floor, a small handprint. Her daughter's handprint. But her daughter was away at her parents' house for the weekend. Jeanette's knees weakened. She stepped back, trembling, when suddenly the static on the TV changed. A face appeared for half a second, blurry, distorted, then it vanished. She gasped and dropped her phone. It hit the floor with a dull crack. She turned toward the kitchen. The sound of dripping water echoed from the sink, slow and rhythmic. Drip, drip, drip. When she reached it, she froze. The water wasn't dripping from the faucet, it was red. Blood mixed with water, swirling down the drain. Her scream caught in her throat. She stumbled backward and ran upstairs, her hands shaking as she reached the top. The hallway was dark, only the faint moonlight spilling from the window. She pushed open her bedroom door, everything was untouched, the bed still made, the lamp still warm. Then she turned toward the closet. It was half open. Inside, something shifted. Her breath hitched. She slowly stepped closer, her fingers trembling as she reached for the door. The air felt colder now, almost freezing. And when she finally pulled the door open, there was nothing. Only her reflection in the small mirror behind the clothes. But then, a faint movement. Her reflection blinked before she did. She stumbled back, her heart racing. The air grew heavier, her vision blurring. Then she heard the same whisper again, but this time right next to her ear. "You shouldn't have come back." Her scream broke the silence, echoing through the empty house. The next morning, her car was still in the driveway. The door still open. But Jeanette was gone. Police arrived later that day after a neighbor reported the door being left ajar. They searched every corner of the house, no sign of struggle, no forced entry, nothing stolen. But on the bedroom mirror, written faintly in red, were the words, "I'm still here." That was the beginning. Nobody knew then that this small, quiet town was about to face something darker than they had ever imagined, a series of disappearances that would uncover a mind so twisted, so broken, that even the police would struggle to believe it was real. The morning light crept slowly over the small town, touching the edge of Jeanette's porch. The neighborhood was quiet, birds singing softly in the distance, unaware that something terrible had happened just hours before. Jeanette's car was still parked in the driveway, her purse still inside, her phone lying on the floor in the living room. The front door stood open like a silent invitation. The first person to notice was Mrs. Carter, the neighbor from across the street. She had seen Jeanette's car lights the night before but thought nothing of it. Now, as she brought in her morning newspaper, she frowned. Jeanette was always careful, too careful to leave her door open. She hesitated, then called her name from the porch. No answer. She stepped closer, calling again, her voice trembling slightly. Still nothing. That's when she saw the faint red mark on the doorknob, dried blood. Panic filled her chest, and she ran back to her house, dialing 911 with shaking hands. Minutes later, 2 police cruisers arrived. Officer Ray, a local detective who'd been in the force for 15 years, stepped out first. He was tired, the kind of tired that sits in your bones, but as soon as he saw the scene, that fatigue turned into focus. He stepped through the open doorway carefully, eyes scanning everything. The house was too quiet, too neat. The smell of rain still lingered, mixed with something faint, metallic, sharp. His partner, Officer Lin, called out from the kitchen. "Sir, you need to see this." Ray walked in and froze. The sink was clean now, but a faint pink stain circled the drain. Someone had tried to wash something away. He leaned closer, studying the edges, and noticed the water droplets still clinging to the metal. Fresh. Maybe just a few hours old. Upstairs, they found the bedroom untouched, except for the mirror. The words written faintly in red were there, but what disturbed Ray wasn't the message. It was the handwriting. It looked familiar, almost childlike. "I'm still here. Get forensics in here," he said quietly. Later that afternoon, the crime scene unit arrived. They dusted for prints, checked for signs of forced entry, but found nothing. No fingerprints, no footprints, no sign of a break-in. It was like she had simply vanished. The only evidence they found was a single small thread of black fabric stuck in the door frame, too small to identify but enough to send to the lab. By evening, the police had spoken to Jeanette's husband, Tom, who was away on a business trip the night she disappeared. He returned home as soon as he heard the news. His face was pale, his voice hollow. "She was fine when I talked to her last night," he told Ray. "She said she was on her way home. She sounded tired, but normal." Ray studied him carefully. Tom avoided eye contact, his hands fidgeting. "Do you two have any problems lately?" Ray asked. Tom hesitated. "Just normal things. Work. Stress. Nothing serious." But something in his tone didn't feel right. That night, while the lab results were pending, Ray sat in his car outside Jeanette's house. The windows of the home were dark now, but he couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was still inside, watching. At 11:42 p.m., his radio crackled. "Detective Ray, you might want to come back to the station. The handwriting sample just came in." When he arrived, the forensic tech handed him a file. "You're not gonna believe this," she said. The handwriting on the mirror, it matched Jeanette's. Ray stared at the report, his stomach tightening. "You're saying she wrote that herself?" "That's what it looks like," the tech replied. "Same pressure, same curves. It's her." He leaned back, his mind racing. If Jeanette had written the message, was she still alive when she did it? Was she trying to leave a clue? The next morning, Tom came to the station again, this time with something unexpected, a voicemail from Jeanette. It was timestamped at 12:03 a.m., just minutes after the estimated time of her disappearance. Ray played it. The message was short, just breathing, heavy and uneven, followed by a whisper. "Don't trust him." Then silence. Ray looked at Tom. "Who do you think she meant?" Tom's face went pale. I don't know." But Ray saw the flicker of something behind his eyes, fear. Not confusion. Fear. 2 days later, the lab called again. The black fabric thread found in the door frame was synthetic, the kind used in gloves worn by funeral workers or morgue attendants. Ray's gut twisted. Something about this case wasn't random. Someone had planned this. Someone who knew how to erase every trace of their presence, except one small thread. That night, as Ray stared again at Jeanette's photo on his desk, something strange caught his attention. In the reflection of her eyes, just barely visible in the picture, there was a shadow, tall, standing behind her, its face blurred. He zoomed in closer, but the more he looked, the more his heart sank. The shape looked human, too human, and yet, wrong. The investigation had just begun, but the darkness surrounding Jeanette's disappearance was only getting deeper. Detective Ray didn't sleep that night. The image haunted him, Jeanette smiling, unaware, while something stood just behind her. A blur. A figure that didn't belong. He couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't just someone photobombing, it was deliberate. Someone wanted to be seen, but not recognized. By sunrise, he was back at the station, exhausted but focused. He walked to the evidence board, Jeanette's photo pinned in the center, surrounded by maps, timestamps, and notes. Beneath it, he'd written 3 words in black marker. Who took her? The team had found nothing from traffic cameras. No witnesses. No car sighted leaving the neighborhood after midnight. It was as if Jeanette and her kidnapper had vanished into thin air. But Ray's instincts told him there was more to this than a simple abduction. Around 9 a.m., he received a call from the forensic lab. The blood found in the kitchen wasn't just Jeanette's. There was a second DNA profile. Male. Unknown. No match in the database. That same morning, Tom arrived again, this time looking worse. His eyes were sunken, his shirt wrinkled, and he smelled faintly of alcohol. "She's still out there," he said, almost whispering. "I know she is." Ray looked at him, his expression unreadable. "You remember anything else? Anything small? Someone she talked to recently? Any threats?" Tom hesitated. "She kept mentioning someone following her. Said she saw a car parked across the street a few nights in a row. A black van. I thought she was just being paranoid." Ray straightened. "Did she describe it?" "Old model. No plates." The detective scribbled notes. It wasn't much, but it was something. Later that day, a young officer knocked on his door. "Sir, you might want to see this. We pulled security footage from a gas station half a mile from the victim's house." Ray followed him to the monitor room. The footage was grainy, filmed from a single overhead camera. Timestamp, 11:47 p.m. The night Jeanette vanished. A car pulled up to pump number 3. A black van. The driver never got out. The lights stayed off. The engine stayed running. Ray leaned closer. "Can you zoom in?" The operator did. Inside the van, they could make out a shadowed figure wearing gloves, and something around the neck. A chain. With a small, circular pendant. Ray's pulse quickened. He remembered something from the earlier evidence report. When Jeanette's husband came in the first time, he'd been wearing the same pendant, a silver coin-shaped chain. He froze. "Pause that. Zoom on the pendant." The reflection glimmered in the dim light. It wasn't identical, but it was close enough to make him uneasy. He turned to his team. "Find every security camera within 5 miles of that gas station. Track that van." Hours passed, one clip after another. Then, finally, a hit. The black van appeared again, this time driving down a rural road leading toward the edge of town. Past the fields, past the trees, to a dead zone of abandoned storage buildings. Ray gathered his team. "We move now." By the time they reached the location, the sun was setting. The air was thick, heavy with the smell of damp wood and rust. Old warehouses lined the road, their broken windows like hollow eyes staring back. They split into pairs, flashlights sweeping through the dust and silence. Then, a noise. Faint. Metallic. Lynn pointed her light toward one of the doors. "You hear that?" Ray nodded. "Open it." The hinges creaked as the door slid open. Inside, nothing but an old desk, a cracked mirror, and a small cot covered in torn sheets. But what made Ray's skin crawl wasn't what he saw, it was what he smelled. Bleach. Someone had cleaned this place recently. On the wall, faintly visible under ultraviolet light, were words written in a hurry. "Don't trust him. He knows." Ray's chest tightened. "She was here," he whispered. Lynn looked at him. "Who do you think she meant?" Ray didn't answer. His mind was spinning. The same phrase she'd left on the voicemail. The same fear in her voice. He walked over to the cot. Something glinted under it, a small object, covered in dust. He picked it up. A necklace chain. Broken. Attached to it, a tiny charm engraved with initials. TM. Tom. Ray's blood ran cold. He called the station immediately. "I need a warrant on Tom Miller's house. Now." As night fell, the police surrounded the Miller residence. Tom stood outside, hands trembling, as officers searched his home. He kept saying the same thing, "I didn't do anything. You have to believe me." But in the basement, behind a false wall, they found what they were looking for. A black jacket with synthetic gloves. A bottle of chloroform. And a stack of printed photos, all of Jeanette. Some smiling. Some sleeping. Some taken through a window. Ray stared at them in silence. His heart was pounding, but not with surprise, with horror. Tom fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Ray's voice was calm but cold. "Tell me where she is." Tom shook his head. "She's safe now." Ray grabbed him by the collar. "Where?" Tom smiled faintly. "You'll see soon." And for the first time since Jeanette vanished, Ray felt something new, dread, mixed with the sinking realization that the nightmare had just begun. Rain poured over the city that night as the truth started to unravel. The storm outside mirrored the chaos inside Detective Ray's mind. Tom Miller sat in the interrogation room, handcuffed, shivering under the cold fluorescent light. He hadn't spoken for an hour. His eyes were red, staring blankly at the table as if the past was replaying in front of him. Ray entered, slowly placing a file on the desk. "You said she's safe. Tell me what that means." Tom didn't look up. You won't understand, he whispered. You never do. Ray leaned forward. You had chloroform, a fake wall, photos of her. You stalked your own wife. Make me understand. Tom's hands shook. It wasn't supposed to go this way. I just wanted her to listen. She wouldn't talk to me anymore, Ray. She was scared of me. Thought I was dangerous. He laughed bitterly. Maybe she was right. Ray's jaw tightened. Where is she, Tom? Tom finally looked up, his face breaking. She's not dead. I swear. She's alive. Then where? Ray demanded. Tom looked toward the one-way mirror. I can take you there. But you go alone. Ray hesitated. You don't make the rules here. Tom smirked faintly. Then you'll never find her. The silence in the room felt heavy. Ray studied him for a long moment, trying to read the sincerity in his eyes. It was there, the guilt, the desperation, but also something else. Relief. As if this was all leading to something inevitable. Finally, Ray nodded. Get him ready. He rides with me. They left the precinct past midnight, the city drowned in fog and rain. Tom sat in the back of the car, hands cuffed, whispering directions softly like someone guiding a ritual. Left at the next turn. Down by the river road. Keep going. The path grew darker with every mile. The asphalt turned to dirt, then to mud. Trees thickened on both sides, swallowing the road until it felt like they were driving through a tunnel of shadows. Stop here, Tom said suddenly. Ray parked. They were in the middle of nowhere. The only sound was the rain tapping on the roof. Tom looked out the window. Through those trees. You'll see an old cabin. Ray turned off the engine. You're coming with me. Tom smiled weakly. Of course. They stepped into the rain. The forest was alive with whispers, branches cracking, wind howling through the leaves. Every sound felt closer than it was. Tom led him through the mud, their flashlights cutting thin beams through the darkness until the outline of a small wooden cabin appeared ahead. It looked abandoned, broken windows, roof sagging, door barely hanging. But inside, a faint light flickered. Ray raised his gun. Stay behind me. Tom said nothing, just walked slower, his expression distant. When they reached the door, Ray kicked it open. The smell hit first, damp, rot, and something faintly metallic. A lantern burned dimly in the corner, illuminating a single chair in the center of the room. Jeanette sat there. Alive. Her wrists were tied, her face pale, eyes wide with exhaustion. She flinched when the door burst open, then froze as she saw Ray. Help me, she whispered, voice trembling. Ray rushed forward, cutting the ropes. It's okay, you're safe now. I've got you. Behind him, Tom stepped inside, watching silently. Tears welled in his eyes. I told you she was safe. Ray turned on him, fury boiling. You tied her here. You call that safe? Tom shook his head slowly. You don't understand. I was protecting her. From him. Ray frowned. From who? Tom's eyes darted to the far wall. He's been here. He followed her home. He's the one who took her phone, her photos. He sent me those messages pretending to be her. I thought if I hid her, he wouldn't find her. Ray's gun remained aimed, but his heartbeat slowed slightly. Who is he? Tom opened his mouth, but before he could speak, a sound echoed from outside. A footstep. Then another. Slow. Deliberate. Ray turned toward the door. Stay down, he whispered to Jeanette. The door creaked open again. A tall man stepped into the light, face obscured by a black hood, dripping wet from the rain. He held a metal pipe in one hand. Ray shouted, Police! Drop it! The man didn't move. He just tilted his head slightly, eyes glinting in the dim light. Then he lunged. The next moments were chaos. The struggle was violent, quick. Ray fired once, the shot echoed like thunder. The man fell to the floor, the pipe clattering beside him. Ray kicked away the weapon, heart pounding, as he pulled the hood off. The face beneath made his stomach drop. It was Officer Lin. For a moment, the world stopped. The rain outside seemed to vanish, the silence inside deafening. Jeanette gasped. That's her, that's the woman who came to my house that night. Ray stared in disbelief. No. Lin was with me when, he stopped mid-sentence. His mind raced back to the warehouse. She was the one who found the message. She was the one who pointed the flashlight at the wall. She was the one who kept suggesting Tom was guilty. Lin coughed, blood on her lips. You shouldn't have come here, Ray. He knelt beside her.
Why?
Why Jeanette? Lynn smiled weakly, eyes glassy. You never noticed, did you? She was everything you wanted. Everything I wasn't. You chose her case over me every single time. So I made sure you'd never forget her. Her hand slipped from his jacket, falling limp. The rain outside grew heavier, drowning the silence. Jeanette sobbed softly. Tom sat frozen, his face pale. She was watching us both. Ray stood slowly, breathing heavily. His hands trembled as he called it in. Backup arrived 20 minutes later, sirens cutting through the forest air. Jeanette was taken to the hospital. Tom was detained for obstruction and illegal confinement, though Ray knew deep down, his guilt was nothing compared to the obsession that had driven Lynn. As dawn broke, Ray stood outside the cabin, staring at the river beyond the trees. The mist rolled over the water like a veil. The nightmare was over, but the scars would remain, for all of them. Back at his desk later that morning, he placed Jeanette's photograph back on the board. The one with the shadowy figure behind her. Only now, looking closer, he could finally see it clearly. It wasn't Tom. It wasn't some stranger. It was Lynn, barely visible, standing at the edge of the frame. Watching. Waiting. He removed the photo from the wall, placed it in an envelope, and locked it in his drawer. Some truths didn't belong in reports. The city outside began to wake, unaware of the storm that had passed. But for Ray, it was just another case closed, another secret buried under silence and rain. And somewhere deep down, a quiet voice whispered, it wasn't over.